Hi viewers and welcome to the channel. This week's video will be discussing Moderna, which is vaccine producer biotech that has enjoyed an incredible few weeks after the announcement of the success of its stage 3 clinical trials for its vaccine candidate for COVID-19. Just a bit of a chart here. It has excluded last night, but certainly for the last 2 years, a stock that really hasn't done much until COVID's hit. Then, of course, as it entered its vaccine trials, the stock has started to perform very, very strongly. And as at about this point is when it announced the results of its stage 3 trials, and sky is the limit here, up almost 600% over the last couple of years. So I think rather than showing you any slides of its its investor presentations or anything like that, I thought I might just discuss why it's rallying. And it's almost worth noting that in comparison to other vaccine producers out there whose share prices have been relatively static, such as Pfizer, for example. Now, I think the reason for this is. And it should be noted that for the most part, most of these vaccine producers out there are doing these vaccination productions not with the intent necessarily of making a huge amount of money, because they are for the most part going to be providing these at very small margins, because COVID has been obviously a global phenomena, a global impact we've seen, and certainly it would be very bad press for any of these companies to start price gouging on what is effectively an essential medicine to allow economies to reopen and allow people to regain their normal lives. But what should be noted about Moderna is that, unlike perhaps some of the bigger companies that you may have noticed, who have been doing clinical trials on their vaccines, Moderna has been doing clinical trials on its vaccine using a very different technology, using mRNA technology. It's very different. It's very unproven. This is going to be, I think, the very first successful vaccine produced using it. But if it is ultimately produced and used around the world, and it is to some degree, one of the reasons that the world is able to resume normality. There are many reasons why why this technology can be used successfully on many other illnesses. So I don't think the market is reacting here whatsoever to the impact this is going to have on Moderna's profit and loss in the short term, but rather what is the opportunity now for their technology that they have clearly, at least on the evidence we've seen, they've clearly gotten right, and how can this be rolled out? And considering typically that designing a vaccine and raising the funding that was needed is not a slam dunk. Given Moderna's success here, I think that they'll probably raise all the capital they need going forward for any promising vaccine therapies that they're working on. And I thought I'd just show here Moderna's share price versus CSL, which is Australia's main biotech, and certainly its biggest vaccine company, which with its Seqirus division, which is largely a big flu vaccine business. And look, CSL's been a brilliant business over the long term. Certainly the last couple of years, that performance has stagnated a little bit, and you see here Moderna's performance has outdone that a lot. But one of the big risks that I read in the success of Moderna's technology is what this could mean for more traditional vaccine technologies, which, unlike the mRNA, which stimulates the body to produce a certain protein effectively with these historical vaccines, such as Seqirus's flu vaccines, they'll put a deactivated virus in your body, which will allow the immune system to develop its own defenses. So it's very different. It is not as easy to roll out as the mRNA vaccine. So, is there a risk here for a company like CSL to start to see its market share in flu vaccines fall away? And could that be a risk for other vaccine companies around the world while Moderna continues to go through strength to strength? Anyway, that's it. That's it. I think not much to really, no numbers to really go through. And obviously 2021 will be a really interesting time to see how these new vaccines perform and how easy the rollout is, because they are, at least with Pfizer's mRNA vaccine, a lot harder to store and transport. And it'll be an interesting conversation we can have on Moderna in 6 months or a year. Anyway, thank you very much for viewing. If you did find this video useful, please click like and subscribe, and we'll be back with more videos in coming weeks.